In a previous video, I talked about the mere exposure effect, which is essentially when a company shows their product over and over again, and consumers, because they've seen it so many times, they essentially subconsciously start to prefer that product over competitors. Whether or not it's a conscious decision, Jordan Brand's clearly applying this effect on a certain colorway. We've already seen this colorway on the Jordan 2s, the Jordan 1 low, mid, and high, a bunch of Team Jordan shoes. Honestly, at one point when I went on Nike.com, the first 3 or 4 shoes were just this colorway, and now we're about to see this colorway applied to one of the most popular and hyped silhouettes ever. Air Jordan 3 Lucky Green. This shoe is releasing on May 18th for $200. It is a woman's exclusive. I have no idea why. Don't know what's so womanly about this shoe. Honestly, for these shoes, for Jordan 3s at least, just make it full size run, gender neutral, everyone gets a shot. I think everyone would love that. I know a few bigfooters, a few tall people that really love this shoe, but they have no shot of getting it. And right off the bat, I can say this is a very clean colorway. If you're not into the Celtics, if you hate the Celtics, this might put you off, but even disregarding that, a Jordan 3 that is like 90% white, it's hard to go wrong. It just really is. It's hard to make a bad Jordan 3. Now, I do have the Jordan 1 Lucky Green highs. I did have the lows at one point, but decided to return them. Didn't love that shoe. Not my favorite shade of green. Prefer that pine green that you see on the Jordan 4 SBs, or the olive green that you see on the Jordan 1 low women's exclusive Travis Scott that released recently. This green, a bit brighter, but not too bright that I don't like it. The base layer of the shoe, completely leather, and the leather feels nice. It's soft, it is not too grainy. I know a lot of people prefer tumbled leather, but sometimes with tumbled leather they go overboard, and then it just becomes really artificial. The leather on this shoe, you can see the grain, but not too much. However, it does feel like on the mudguard, that feels kind of more synthetic, or at least there's some type of plastic synthetic coating over it. But the rest of the upper sole feels really, really nice. And of course, you have the most distinct feature of the Jordan 3, the elephant print on the heel counter as well as the toe box. And no, this elephant print is thicker than the OGs, but not as thick as some other shoes that have released recently on the Jordan 3s. Slightly different to the Fire Reds that released last year. The Fire Reds, at least the one I got directly from Nike, has a bit of a darker elephant print than the Lucky Greens. Now there's plenty of ventilation on the Jordan 3. You can see all the way down the eyelets, as well as the ankle collar, and all the way up the tongue. This shoe does come with a polyurethane sail midsole. Yes, they did go with that sail midsole again. I think if it was just white and green, the shoe would really pop. Don't love that sail midsole. Now because it's a polyurethane midsole, it is slightly lighter than a shoe that has a rubber midsole, so I like that. Also provides slightly better cushioning, and you can definitely feel it from the Jordan 3s compared to the Jordan 1. The comfort level, the flatness, is not as bad as the Jordan 1. And of course you see the visible Nike Air unit, the first Jordan shoe to have a visible Nike Air unit, and there is also an encapsulated Air unit on the forefoot. The booty of the shoe has a Jordan Jumpman logo, not Nike Air branding. Of course, it's not an OG colorway, and thankfully they didn't make that tab on the booty sail as well. You see on the Reimagined, it's sail on the midsole as well as the tab. This one, it just comes white. Not sure if I love that gray or silver Jumpman on the back. Maybe. I think if they went with green or even just left it white to blend in with the rest of the shoe, I probably would have preferred that. Don't love that color, but not a big deal. Of course, one of the most iconic outsoles of all Jordan shoes is the Jordan 3 outsole. It does have Jordan on the cutout instead of Nike, because again, it's not an OG colorway. Matches the booty of the shoe with the Jordan Jumpman instead. Now moving on to the inside of the shoe. You see the padding on the ankle collar, it's that kind of fuzzy material. Feels really nice, feels nice and thick, nice and comfortable. And the insole is a pretty standard insole, just white with a red Jumpman to match the tongue. This shoe doesn't come with any extra laces. I think that's like 4 or 5 shoes that I've reviewed in a row. It doesn't come with any extra laces. Maybe they're just getting rid of extra laces for good now. Who knows? However, I don't actually know what color laces I would take over the white laces that come with the shoe. Maybe green. Definitely not sail. There's too much sail on the shoe already. I think if it was green, it would be too much. I like the limited amount of green on this shoe. This shoe also comes with a Jordan hang tag. Now, usually the Jordan hang tag would come with an OG colorway like the Fire Reds. However, a lot of times with women's exclusive, like the Jordan 1 Starfish, like the Jordan 1 Lanies, both are women's exclusive. Both came with hang tags. And this one, it is a women's exclusive, came with a hang tag. I'm not sure how they decide what shoe to give a hang tag to, but this one comes with a pretty cool hang tag. I never ever wear my shoes with a hang tag, but I do like to collect them. And this one is like an acrylic or plastic type hang tag, not the rubber one that you might see on other shoes. Box of the shoe, nothing special, just a white box with a gold Jumpman in the middle. Definitely would have liked something more special, and I'll have more to say on that later. I think there's a lot of opportunity here for storytelling, especially with this colorway that they just didn't pay attention to. Inside of the box, pretty normal paper covered with 23 on it. Now moving on to size and comfort, I'm a size 9.5 true to size. I do have wide feet. For Jordan 3s, I always go true to size, feel like it fits my wide feet pretty perfectly, and I think the Jordan 3s are one of the more comfortable shoes. The padding inside the shoe, really nice. 2 Nike Air units as cushioning, and the polyurethane midsole, definitely better cushioning than the Jordan 1s. And if you're a wide footer, especially as a flat footer, maybe you might have some problems initially with the arch, but once you break it in, don't really feel it. I do recommend, even if you're a wide footer, stay true to size. Compared to modern day shoes, the Jordan 3 still has a flatter feel. I don't really mind that. I think it's better for my knees and my back. I'm an old man. I don't love that soft, squishy feeling that comes with shoes nowadays. But if you really prefer that retro old Jordans, probably not the shoes that are most comfortable for you. And that brings the total sole score for the Jordan 3 Lucky Green women's exclusive to 18 out of 25. And around the middle of all the shoes that I've reviewed, colorway wise, I think this is a very simple and nice colorway. The green is not my favorite type of green, but at least it's darker than like a bright green, so it's more wearable. I do probably prefer pine green or like olive over this, but overall, because it's so limited in the use of that green, I think it's nice. Material wise, it is nice leather, but on the mudguard, on the tongue, it does feel synthetic. It does feel like there's some type of coating over it. I don't love that, but overall, the material is still pretty nice. Comfort wise, like I said, Jordan 3, one of the more comfortable shoes, especially for my wide feet, and because there is some weight savings with the polyurethane midsole over a rubber midsole, so it's not as heavy of a shoe than maybe you would imagine on a shoe that's, in my opinion, a little bulky. Versatility wise, the Jordan 3, one of the most versatile shoes ever, in my opinion. And colorway, because it's so simple, I think it's very versatile also, especially as someone living in Boston. I can wear these around and they'll just assume that I'm a big NBA Celtics fan, even though I'm not. I didn't grow up here. I am a Knicks fan. However, just in a vacuum, very easy to wear shoe. Now storytelling wise, I think that's where they missed the mark, especially with the Lucky Green colorway. Now the inspiration behind the colorway is that Michael Jordan scored 63 points against the Boston Celtics all the way back in 1989. They still lost the game, and the story behind that game has been told over and over again. However, despite the inspiration, Nike.com or sneakers, they never actually put that in their description of the shoe. Not once did they mention the Boston Celtics colorway. Not entirely sure why. I don't know if it's because they mention a sports team. There might be some licensing issues where they have to pay royalties for using the colorway, but unofficially, at least on all the media outlets, at least online, it does reference that game against the Boston Celtics. And that's where Jordan Brand could have played into it, assuming they're allowed to. Some reference to 63 points, some reference to the Boston Celtics, some reference to the game, maybe make the box a bit special with like an image of the game inside the box. I don't know, so many different ways they could come up with to reference that game to really make it a special colorway. If you didn't know the story, like if you're younger or you're not a big NBA fan, you would just think this is a white and green shoe. Missed opportunity in my opinion. The Jordan 3 Lucky Green is a nice shoe, a really nice shoe. But let's be honest, it's really hard to make a horrendous Jordan 3. I can't think off the top of my head, I can't think of a really bad Jordan 3. But was this shoe needed? With so many Lucky Green colorways coming out recently, and with people yearning for the OG colorways to come back more often, some would argue no. But when you see these in hand, when you see how simple and clean this shoe is, and realizing that I do live in Boston, it's a perfect shoe for this city, it's hard for me to say this shoe wasn't needed. So that's it. Thanks for watching. Soul Inclined. Like, subscribe, let me know what you think of the Air Jordan 3 Lucky Green. And remember, tomorrow may never come, so wear your shoes.